Hey all, welcome back to the channel. Today I am going to be reviewing the WH-XB910Ns. That means nothing to you? Good, it shouldn't, it's a terrible name. But these are headphones from Sony. They have noise canceling and extra bass. That's what the XB in the name stands for. And they definitely have a lot of bass. But we'll get to that in a sec. Anyways, what you'll get with it is about the world's shortest USB-C cable, because yes, these are USB-C, as any device should be. And it comes with an aux cable, which is decently long. I mean, I use them mainly plugged in, for the most part, I'd say. So, definitely glad it came with one. But anyways, so like I said, these have active noise canceling. And they also have an app that goes with them. I'm not a huge fan of the app, and half the time when you try to open it, it just sits there spinning and says connecting forever, and you have to close and reopen the app for it to actually work a few times. But you don't technically need the app with these, luckily, because there's a button on the side to actually turn on and off the noise canceling. And I'd say the noise canceling is pretty good. I mean, like if someone else is in the room, I mean, you can't really even hear them. I will say I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like the noise canceling has gotten slightly worse over time. Like I feel like when I first got them, like I felt like complete silence. I felt like I could barely hear anyone, but now like I like click stuff like a mouse button, stuff like that that's higher pitch of a sound. It doesn't seem to cancel as well anymore. It's still very good, but I mainly use them with my computer. I mean, they're wireless, so you probably shouldn't be using them wired a lot, but I mainly use them wired with my computer. And the reason I do wired instead of wireless is, yeah, of course, there's going to be a little bit of lag from it being Bluetooth. I've tested with several programs like Zoom, Discord, even Steam Chat. Well, Steam Chat only does it sometimes, but what it does is, the way Windows works with wireless headphones is whenever you're using something like that where it's actually streaming the microphone and the speakers so that, you can hear other people and stuff like that, Windows turns this into what's called a communications device, which lowers the bit rate, which just means less data goes to the headphones, so they sound slightly worse. And it's definitely apparent when you're on a call with someone or chatting with someone and you try to go play a game, the game just sounds very compressed and really weird. So I don't really use them wirelessly while I'm playing on my computer. I pretty much always use the cable. But the thing is, the good thing is they'll work with just a cable. They can be completely dead and they'll just work. But you can also turn them on and it'll just turn on noise canceling while they're plugged into your computer, which I like because I like the noise canceling because, computers are loud with all the fans and everything. But now, I mean, so you do still have to charge them every once in a while. But speaking of having to charge them, with the noise canceling on, you get about 30 hours. I've noticed a little bit more than that when I have them plugged in and I have them on using noise canceling, probably because it doesn't have to do anything wireless. But with noise canceling off, it gets about 50 hours, which I'd say is about right. Which 50 hours, I mean, yeah, you can get headphones that have a lot longer battery life than that from like HyperX or a few other brands. But in reality, you don't really need that kind of battery life. So 50 hours seems to be about a good spot. I can use them pretty heavily for I'd say about a week before I even have to charge them, but generally they last about a week and a half or 2 weeks because I'm not using them a whole lot when it comes to having them on. Because like I said, you can just plug it in and use it while it's off, which I do sometimes because, well, it's just quicker and sometimes I just forget to charge them, so it's nice that it does that. And another thing they advertise is that in 10 minutes of charging, they'll last 4.5 hours. So that's pretty good. Like if you're fixing to get on, play some games or something, and you're using these as your headphones, which I don't know what else you would use them for because they're headphones. But if you forgot to charge them, then you can just plug them in, wait a few minutes, and boom. So it's pretty nice, just being able to charge it real quick. And these also, as you saw, come with a pretty nice case. I mean, it's decently hard. It's not going to protect it from a bunch of impacts, but it's pretty solid. I like the zipper. I haven't had any problem with it getting stuck. I mean, I've noticed on some things, they put pretty bad zippers and they just get stuck constantly. And these also have touch controls. It's only on the right side, which is fine. And they work surprisingly well for touch controls, because at least for me, touch controls just have never really worked. They pause your music randomly, or they just don't work when you're tapping it. There's always something. But these, they haven't worked perfectly. I have had it just pause the music a few times. But other than that, it's been pretty good for just touch controls. Also, it has a cool feature where if you just set your hand over the touch area, it'll just lower the volume and turn off noise canceling. So just starts to try to have a conversation with you, and you don't want to take off your headphones. You can just hold your hand there. It'll dim the music, be nice and quiet. You can still hear it, which, I mean, I would prefer to be able to hear it rather than just thinking it paused it and then trying to unpause it and then it pausing it, because anyways, pretty good. And they are quite comfortable, which is nice, because I've had a few pair of headphones, mainly from Razer, which I'm just going to say, don't buy anything from Razer. I've had nothing but problems from them. Mouse I got, broke. Headphones I got, broke. They sent me another pair, they broke. I don't buy Razer. Anyways, those Razer ones that I had, they were advertised to be really, really light. They were only like 200 grams or something, which is a lot, which is not a lot. These being wireless, like at least at the time, I thought that was pretty light, right? Like, I think it was like 250 grams. It's pretty light. These are only like 280 and they're wireless. Those were just flimsy little headphones. They weren't wireless. They did not have nice build quality. This is definitely way better in those regards. Especially because these actually have swivel in the ear, because our ears don't stick out that way, you know, they point slightly forwards. And I've had some headphones where they're just stiff like this, so then they just push on the back of your head, which is quite uncomfortable. And the memory foam that they're using for at least the headrest, I have noticed that if I wear it how I would normally, like just pop it on my head and leave it there, it will make my head start to hurt. I don't know if that's just me, I don't know if it's just because they're heavy, but if I just push them a little bit farther forwards than I normally would, it's still comfy because, well, it swivels in all the different directions. It's fine. Like, I can just wear them all day. Doesn't give me any pain. It's nice. These also have pretty decent mics. I wouldn't call them spectacular, but as you can see here, well, I guess I can't really show that on camera, but they have little microphones up here. Oh, you can see these. So this is so it can actually let noise in, and it uses a mic that you can't really see, so that it can actually, you know, tune out stuff, and that's how the noise canceling works. But it also uses those mics for, like, if you have this connected to your phone and you're calling someone. The mic's actually pretty good. And I've not had any complaints with someone not being able to understand me, which is nice. And, I mean, honestly, for being wireless headphones and having a wireless mic, they're pretty good. It's pretty good of a mic. Because, well, wireless mics, they never really work near as well. Because, well, just voice likes cable. Like, I have these. These were like $25, or like $30. These aren't as good of sound quality as these, but for like $30, like, these are really good. The mic, honestly, I should probably use this mic for recording this video, because it's a really good mic, at least for the price. So would I say that this is definitely worth it more because this sounds nearly as good and it's a lot cheaper? Well, I mean, I can't really tell you that because it depends on what you're wanting. If you only got $30, then there is no question buy these. There's no other headphones that are better than this for the price. But these don't have a lot of the features. Like, these have a lot flatter sound curve, which means, like, your bass and, like, your top end, which is like the tings of drums or something, those are all pretty level in volume. With these, since these have extra bass, they have a lot of extra bass. So when I'm listening to music, I actually have to turn them up higher than I normally would because all you can hear is bass. Everything else is quiet. So you do have to turn it up a lot higher so you can actually hear everything else and not just bum, bum, bum. And especially, like, for games and stuff, I like the extra bass. Like, if you're playing, like, a story-driven game and there's just music going on in the background, it sounds a lot more... It just has a lot more feeling because it's a lot more bassy. So, for, like, racing games and stuff, I prefer these, obviously, because, I mean, who uses in-ear stuff for gaming? But they just sound good, pretty good. The accuracy, it's not, you can't even call it accuracy. It's nowhere near accurate when it comes to actual how sounds are supposed to sound and how they sound. But in reality, that doesn't really matter because when you're buying this type of headphones, you're not buying them because you want everything to sound perfect. You're buying them because, well, like for these, you like the bass and you like the way they sound. So I really like the way these sound. They're actually quite clear. If you use the app and you tune the EQ a little bit and lower the bass, it like the top end is very crystal clear and it has nice surround sound. Like I wouldn't call these like, 7.1 surround sound or anything like that, which some headphones, they use software to imitate 7.1 surround sound, which those, they sound good and you can definitely tell where stuff's coming from. But with these, they have a good sense of location. Like, you can hear something's coming in front of you or beside you, but there's not a whole lot of depth. Like, you can't really hear a sound here and a sound way, way, way over there and be like, wow, those are really, really different distances. You can tell they're different, but it doesn't quite have that openness that open back headphones have, because open back headphones, since they let all the sound in that's around you, they sound a lot more open and you get a lot more sound stage, which is, being able to tell exactly where stuff is from these two speakers. And speaking of speakers, these have 40 millimeter drivers, which pretty standard for really any headphones. Some have bigger, some have special ones, but 40 millimeters, I mean, it's a pretty big speaker. Like, most of this inside is where the speaker is, which is good because then if it takes up most of this area, then you get a wider sound stage because it can actually like make sounds sound like they're coming from over here rather than being right here and having to bounce off this. Because stuff like this, because this is really nice soft memory foam, which feels really nice, but it does absorb some of the higher end sounds. So bass, like, you get lots of bass because these make a nice sill around your head thanks to how they swivel. And that's what you need, room for bass to echo. So there's actually is quite a bit of room in here for your ear. So they're very comfortable. And back to the case for just a second, I just wanted to compare it to another case. So like, this is one for the Steam Deck. So the Steam Deck costs like twice as much as this because, it's a computer that's handheld. But like this case, this is a solid case. This is very, very stiff and has a lot of protection inside. It's very soft. This, for being, half the price, still a lot of money for what it is. But the more you pay, generally, the nicer the sound. And I'd say that's definitely true for something like this. But as you can see, it is still nice and soft in here. I'd say this is actually softer than what's in this one, which is good because it'll keep your headphones safe. And I appreciate the two little individual pouches here, so for your little cable and, well, your other cable for the aux cable. And the way that these go in there, they fit very nicely. Like, there is not really any movement. The only movement is this way, but that's because I just collapsed these. Like, if you have a bigger head and you have to extend these to make it fit around your head, then you do have to shrink it back down and readjust it, which is unfortunate. But since I don't have the largest head in the world, I just have it here, and it does still fit in. It's a tighter fit, but I like that more than having to readjust it every time I want to use it. Anyways, I think that's it for today. Leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.